Purchasing a property in Jamaica as a foreigner with a mortgage is not impossible, nor are there any laws that prohibits banks from giving out mortgages to foreigners. And if there's anyone telling you that, they either do not know what they're talking about or they do not wish you well. Now, the process is difficult. It's challenging, it has its hurdle, and it does seem sometimes impossible. And you do have to produce a lot of documents, especially if you are a self-employed person overseas. But it can be done. The biggest hurdle you may encounter is actually finding a loan officer that is responsive, attentive, and willing to work with you. One of the things that you need to keep in mind is that in Jamaica, loan officers tend to have quotas that they have to meet. And if your file is a little bit more complicated, they're going to work on the easier ones and push yours to the side. So I would recommend, especially if you're not working with a loan officer who was highly recommended to you, I would recommend that you reach out to different banks and you don't put all your eggs in one basket. There are many banks in Jamaica that give mortgages. There is JN, JMMB, CIBC, Scotia, NCB. There's quite a few banks that you can reach out. That list is not exhaustive. There are quite a few more that I did not name. Speaking to different banks also is going to be very important because every bank has a different list of documents that they're going to want. For example, some banks want tax transcripts while other banks are not going to ask for that. Another example is how banks may treat your credit report. Now, this one is probably the most annoying part because how they calculate debt to income ratio is different across the banks. For example, if you are an authorized user on account, some banks in Jamaica may take that debt as your debt and calculate that monthly income into your debt to income ratio, which is something that in the US they don't do. And there are a few banks that don't do it in Jamaica as well. Another thing that you'll have to pay attention to when calculating your debt to income ratio is banks are going to look at your credit cards and they're not going to take into consideration your actual payment. Instead, some banks may take a look at what your overall limit is and do 5% as that limit and say that this is your maximum amount of money that you're going to pay on this card per month. And that's the number we're going to use, even if that number is significantly